Welcome to Cinemondo Shots with Kathy, Mark, and Burke, talking about movies. We're going to pull a name out of a hat, a name of a movie or an actor or something, and we're going to talk about that for exactly 10 minutes, according to our timer.
And at the end of that 10 minutes, whoever's talking has to take a shot.
Yes, and that's the real McCoy there, by the way.
It's not apple juice.
It's not
And
apple
when the
juice
alarm
or-
goes off, it's the Wilhelm scream. So when Wilhelm screams,
It's over.
it's over.
Kathy, will you do the honors?
I will do it. Okay. I picked really good last time. Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay, I'm going to start the timer.
Some obscure
I know. What are we going to
director.
say about him? Okay.
So much to say.
Well, you'll have to do it. I never heard of him.
Start. What can you say about Alfred Hitchcock? He invented so many styles of storytelling
Never won an
on
Oscar.
film. Never won an Oscar.
Never got a dinner. What would be your favorite Hitchcock movie?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because that's
There's so many,
but
and
you
they're
have to-
so different.
they're so different. But I have one that I can always watch, and that's Vertigo.
Yeah.
For me, it's to me that it's incredible to look at. It's a very personal film. Great, James Stewart's amazing in it, and Kim Novak. The setting of San Francisco. It's just a weird, odd film.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's fetishistic and,
It is.
and
It is.
bizarre. And you kind of don't like him so much at the end when he's trying to force her to be something.
Not at all. Not at all.
But then you realize there's an even deeper, uglier twist to it, and it really is a weird film.
I think Psycho ultimately is my favorite because it's just the beautiful black and white. It's like just the characters are so iconic and the acting. You just can't really top that to
It's
me.
perfect. It's streamlined.
It's true. I do also love The Birds. Mm-hmm. Just because I think her style is so great in that, and I love the whole idea of this innocuous little creature all of a sudden being super scary. I think that's a really fun idea.
I remember when I was a kid and they would show The Birds on TV, and it used to mystify me. I used to wonder why. And it was so weird to me as a kid. I felt like I was missing something. Like, why are the birds attacking? And then when I got older and saw it, and the fact that there's no explanation for the birds, it's just suddenly birds got pissed off at people and wanted to kill people.
And the ending of that movie when they just drive away and there's just millions of birds on telephone poles
love
and all
that.
over the place. It's just like the world has changed.
And he never made another movie like that. It's a simple premise. Mm-hmm. Most of his movies, I mean, he's mostly known for these sort of plot twists and turns but that movie is just basically, here's a threat, and he doesn't even explain why the birds are a threat.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was really interesting about that film.
And in this bucolic, beautiful, California seacoast town.
Yeah.
Just looks so good.
But that's a great. And of course, Psycho. You can't go wrong with that. I mean,
Yeah.
And I love his ending shots. Like The Birds has a great
Yes.
ending shot. Psycho has just an amazing, last shot of just him smiling in the superposed skull
Right.
over his body, and then of course
and the voiceover.
Yeah, and then the pulling up of the car.
So
Yeah.
good.
It's like awesome. And then his movies just end. It's just like the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye.
See ya. Over.
But the other thing about Psycho that was so groundbreaking, I think, was the sort of left turn it takes. The film starts off with a character, and she does something, and you're thinking, okay, this movie's going to be about her trying to get away with some crime that she committed. She steals some money. No,
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the money she stole.
It was so off balance to kill off a character that you
Yeah.
thought was a main character in a movie.
That was
such
never
a
done
drastic,
before.
crazy
Never done
thing to do.
before, and it also makes you feel uneasy for the rest of the film.
Right,
You don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
anyone could die.
Yeah,
It's
nobody's-
like Game of Thrones.
Yeah. But he's like he's a first. Like one of his lesser known films was Rope from the
Yeah.
mid-40s, which is great because it's 80 minutes and it's like supposed to be one continuous shot. It's all
Right.
set in one apartment. But of course it's not because it's shot on film, so they have to change the magazine. So you do these little tricks, but still it's incredible.
It takes place in real time, though. I mean,
Yes,
from the beginning of
it's-
the film to the end of the film is a continuous stretch of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's live, like live
Yeah.
time. Like there's no cuts to in the future. There's
Right.
no flashbacks. It's all like happening in that apartment the whole time.
And like a play. It's like
Yeah.
very easy to do a play of this because you set it in that one apartment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And it's just very much of its time period. But I that's a fascinating
That's
one for me.
another
I
good
can
one.
always watch that.
Well, I
He's
like that he was-
experimenting with
Yeah.
suspense.
And
Yeah.
filmmaking. Like he took chances. He's this big commercial director, but he took chances like with that format. He took chances with the birds, like not giving you simple answers. He took chances with Psycho by killing off main characters. Like he played with the format, which was sort of a cool thing, I thought.
And
Yeah.
another one that's kind of like just this big movie, grand entertainment, was North by Northwest.
Yes.
That's one that's just really fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's just great. It's just like, it's just big. It's Cary Grant.
Yeah.
It just looks good.
It's almost like a James Bond movie in a way.
Yeah.
And then there's Rear Window, which is
I
another
was just
one
about
of
to
those.
say that on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah, which is another similar type thing where you're stuck in an apartment. There's no, you're in one, like a play.
Yeah.
You're observing something happening on a stage in front of you from one perspective. And the character in that film, Jimmy Stewart, is also observing. He's like a person in a play who's a captive audience. He's got his something wrong with his foot, and he's stuck in his apartment. He can't move. He can't walk. He can't do anything. He can only watch what's happening.
Right. And he becomes a voyeur to across the courtyard to all these other apartments. And then there's the ambiance of New York City, 1955.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the sounds of it and what people did.
But it's all set bound.
Yeah, it's all.
And I like
yeah.
how all the narratives he was putting together about the people across the way, like the lonely woman, and even
Miss
just
Lonely
like
Hearts.
Miss Lonely Hearts, and then seeing what he thinks is a murder, but he's not sure, so he wants her to investigate. Got beautiful Grace Kelly in there. He's
Yeah.
sending her over to check things out. I mean, it's just such a great
Raymond Burr.
Oh yeah, Raymond Burr, the kid.
And of course, the shot of him, he's like in some guy's apartment, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
other guy that's in there is a guy by the name of Ross Bagdasarian.
Yep.
Who is the guy that created the Chipmunks.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fun.
which is a weird little thing.
And he plays a guy who's a musician, a songwriter.
That's another thing. The Hitchcock cameos.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are so fun.
What's your favorite Hitchcock cameo? Quick.
The one with the poodle.
Walking the Poodle.
I like the one where he tries to get on the bus, but the bus closes. I think that's North by
That's
Northwest.
a good one.
And he kind of looks at the camera. He does
I
one
have
of
a
these.
funny Hitchcock production story. I used to work at Universal, and I was hanging out with some of the old timers there, and they were cleaning out one of the places, and they were going to throw some stuff out, and they found a box of curtains, and it was old, ancient box of curtains, and on the box it said Rear Window. And they said, "Do you want any of these?" And I was like, "Oh my god!
I want the box.
Oh my god!" And because Hitchcock's office was just a few doors down from my office, and it's like, this is history. This is like Hollywood history. My God! Of course I'll take it. And then she said, "Oh yeah, there's some other ones over there." And I looked on that box, and it said front windows.
Wow, that's too funny.
Hilarious. Oh no.
That's very good.
Terrible.
So I think they were from the movie Rear Window.
They probably were.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie Front Window, but it sounds
Yeah.
good.
Front Window was the sequel that was just
The
panned.
sequel, yeah. Hitchcock sometimes misstepped,
He's like, the front windows would probably have more interesting things.
Right.
And then there was this other film called The Sidewalk, which I thought was really good.
That
The
was
boring Hitchcock film.
That was the silent era Hitchcock. But there was some early other ones that were like A Shadow of a Doubt's a really good one.
Yeah.
And
Saboteur.
Saboteur is really interesting.
Yeah.
Overcoming is really odd. That was like Statue of Liberty is the ending of that one. It's,
Yeah.
Strangers on a Train. I mean,
Oh,
gosh,
man, that
there's
was
just
so
so many
good.
good ones.
He always has like some crazy, amazing shot. Like I haven't seen Stranger in a Train in a long time, but I always remember those glasses sitting in the grass. They'd fallen off the woman, and you see a
Right.
reflection. What's ever happening in the scene is in the glasses laying on the ground. That was such a great shot.
He was really
That was
good with
Strangers on
those
a
set
Train,
pieces.
right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
What
And
was his last film?
Called Family Plot,
Oh.
1976, which I saw at the theater.
yeah,
And it
I did
was
too.
Not
Karen Black. I can't remember who else was in it. The one before that was called Frenzy, which was kind of a British.
Oh yeah, Frenzy. Yeah.
Is that Michael Caine?
I don't know. If,
No,
no,
it wasn't. That
it was,
was-
another actor.
Yeah.
Alan Bates in it or something? No, it was some
Norman
British.
Bates.
No, Alan Bates.
But that's the real London one. It's the one set in London.
yeah. It's
Serial
very-
killer,
serial
strangler.
killer. Right. Yeah, that was
strangled
Frenzy.
women with the.
Which was an interesting film. I didn't like those last couple personally, but
Well, they weren't as iconic.
yeah.
There are huge expectations for Hitchcock
There was-
because you always expect him to do something crazy.
yeah. Do you remember Marnie? That one came out after The Birds.
I
with
remember, but I think
Sean
I saw
Connery.
it one time.
And that was
I
just,
liked his thrillers.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was like a more feel good movie, right?
It was just odd. It was just odd. It was one of those movies that didn't really. It was just sort of a relationship thing, but it just didn't quite. Sean Connery and Tippi Hedren. It was like her second film. But even those are interesting misfires. The ones
Have you ever
aren't
been
quite
to
as good.
Tippi Hedren's Big Cat Rescue?
Have I ever been? No,
Yeah.
I have not.
Have you?
No, but it's one of those things you got to do if you live
She
out
has
here.
a big cat rescue.
I want to do it.
We went and as she comes out, she was coming out and she has this big property with the cats and there's this big dirt road that goes down to where everyone gathers and at the end of the day, if she's there, she'll come out and talk to everybody.
Wow.
So she's walking down this dirt road and we see her and as we're walking toward her to say hello, this big crow comes flying in and lands on a tree.
Oh my God.
And she looks up and she goes, "They follow me everywhere still." And I thought, that is such a great little moment.
That's funny, like a
I
trained
hear the
crow.
screaming.
Kathy,
Okay, here it goes.
the Wilhelm scream.
I'm such a lightweight.
These are going to get better and better the more shots we do. I promise.
As we get later in the day.
Anyway,
Thanks very much.
that's
Thank
it
you.
for this episode of Cinemondo Shots.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Cinemondo signing off.